Welcome back to SwitchCorner. My name is Alex and today we're taking a look at my favourite deals coming in under $10 or your local currency, covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. Now it's a bit of a quieter week honestly, but there's still a nice amount of deals here, but it's for sure got that good old kind of indie feel. So with that luck, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family and let's get started. Remember then, we do have 2 codes to give away this week for Fort Triumph, thanks to the folks over at All In Games. We'll be announcing the winners to that though later in the video, so do stick around for that. First up then, Evergate, and this one is an indie release that deserves more love. The discount's 35% off, which marks a new all-time low price, but it's also worth knowing this one actually saw a permanent price drop, so it's more like, I'd say, 65% off that original price. Think though, Twitch platformer here in the vein of like Super Meat Boy, but just a little bit easier going, and you'll be working your way through what is the afterlife with all sorts of acrobatic maneuvers, including the ability to slow down time. It's one of those games where sure, you can get through the levels, but can you get all the collectibles along the way? That leads to kind of like a ton of replayability, and I just love the overall style of it all. Race fans then, matching the low price, we've got Hotshot Racing coming in with 75% off. This one's going to be for the retro fans out there, so think low poly style, somewhat reminiscent of titles, you know, like Virtua Racing and Daytona USA. It's fast paced stuff though, with a decent selection of racers and tracks. Not the longest of games as you face off against career mode, but it's still good fun, and I'd actually turn back to this one quite a bit, especially if you have friends willing to pick it up with you, so you can go ahead and jump online. That's though where I've burnt more than a few hours of my day, and it is an absolute blast. Action RPG fans then, Cat Quest 2 if you fancy something just a little bit more light-hearted, but do not devalue it immediately based on the name. It's a surprisingly entertaining journey, this one, as you face a world where basically cats and dogs are at war, and 2 kings, one a cat, one a dog, they come together to resolve this land's issues. Think here a whole lot of weapons, spells, abilities and dungeons, and it is a good time. The visuals with this one, they are particularly nice as well, seriously like bold colours. It's also got this hand-drawn like style that really works for me, and it's rocking 55% off, which marks a new all-time low price. Down in Bermuda then is a puzzle game that made its way from Apple Arcade, and it's a perfect example of a title that just absolutely deserved to transition across. It's just a good time, and the story, it was simple but entertaining. Basically a pilot crashes and now finds himself stranded years and years later. You need to now escape. Fed up with this situation you are in though, you've got to basically move from island to island and find some way out of here. You're unlocking what are magic portals and finding that way home. It's everything here from exploration to, like, you know, think environmental puzzles to missing objects in this world, and it's matching the low price, which is a steal, with 80% off. So maybe a controversial pick here then, but Foregone, a game I did not particularly enjoy honestly, and I for sure gave it a low score here on the channel in my review, mainly because I found it was weaker than the competition, and then it had a whole lot of performance problems. But first off, it's been patched, which is always good to see, but also I got a ton of comments on that video from people out there saying how much they enjoyed it, so I figured like it's worth a shout out, especially when you factor in this new low price of 60% off. Now it's an action platformer, it's set after a war that nearly destroyed this world, and it's got a nice spin of think upgradable skills. I'm linking my full review below though, so you can take a look and see what you think. On the back of that then, Collapsed, which was a nice surprise, mainly because really didn't enjoy, let's say, the first opening hour or so of the gameplay, but the more I got into it, the more I appreciated it. It's a roguelike platformer, it's throwing you into this post-apocalyptic world, and it's essentially almost think run and gun gameplay where you're out to uncover exactly what happened to this place around you. I think my issue with this one, it was just getting used to the controls. They definitely feel unique, almost floaty, and the game then quickly overwhelms you with tons of enemies. But here we're seeing a new low of 50% off, which I think is a great price. You just maybe need a little bit of patience to kick things off. My pickup of the week then, before our first winner of the week, meaning I can't recommend it, but maybe you'll want to join me for the ride, and I'm going away for the weekend, so to break up my current Tetris addiction, let's say, it's something seriously chill. That game is Wind Peaks, which is actually a hidden objects game, a genre honestly I rarely mess with. Where this one supposedly kind of elevates itself though above, others in the genre, it's actually its story as you help scouts find these objects. I'm not sure what to expect honestly, but I really like the visual style they are rocking. It's vivid, its colour palette should look fantastic on the OLED, and yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot with this new low of 40% off. I just couldn't get myself honestly to go above $10 on this one, but I'm feeling really comfortable and this price seems really fair, so yeah, I at least hope it's worth it. So our first winner of the week then for a Fort Triumph code, and it's going to Axaru777, who highlighted Children of Mortar and the fact it keeps going down in price. Also, it just got a new DLC this week, which continues to support my appreciation of the team behind it, who just kind of keep on, giving. Congrats, so Axaru, drop me an email to claim your code, and everyone else, we still have a second winner coming up later in the video. Alright, so the biggest steal of the week then, it has to be Hub, the Definitive Edition, coming in with a monster 85% off, and it's the first time it's ever dropped below $10, and it is by a huge amount, so definitely take a look. An action-adventure game, think here you're out to save the world with a variety of abilities and powers. I just love the overall style of this one. Our hero with mechanical arm has a whole lot of charm, and there's a decent amount of enemy variety and environmental puzzles. If you also like your platformers though as well, especially, this is gonna be a wise pickup, and it's such a steep drop, I'm not sure we're gonna be seeing it again anytime soon. Blasphemous then also finally sees a new low price, and this one's going to be for you Metroidvania fans. It could be a good pickup if you've recently finished Metroid Dread. You'll be the penitent one though, a sole survivor of a massacre, and you are out to save the world from what is a brutal cycle of death. In true Metroidvania style though, it's going to demand a whole lot of exploration, but then expect also tons of combat, new moves, customization, and of course boss battles. It's good stuff. The only thing I found a little bit awkward was the platforming. I didn't feel like I always had the control to pull off some of the demands of the game. That said though, these moments few and far between, and still highly recommended from me, especially with this new low price of 66% off. So we're heading into the final 3 games, and as I said, look, this is a short week this one, but DungeonTop from the folks over at Cubic Games. Now I'm a sucker for a card deck based game, especially a roguelike one, and I was really impressed with this entry. What initially attracted me was the visual style. It gave me Darkest Dungeon vibes, which is kind of like peak awesome at this point, but there's also just tons to do. You'll be diving into these dungeons, you'll be upgrading cards, searching out loot, there's multiple heroes with different classes, there's over 800 cards as well. Fans of the genre, take a look here. It's a little bit more unknown than some out there, let's face it, but it's for sure got the quality, and it's a new low price then of 70% off, and you can get hours of gameplay here, or at least I have, like, personally. So our penultimate game of the week then, Space Crew is here, rocking 60% off, and for anyone that played Bomber Crew, this is indeed the follow-up, and no, it's not quite as good honestly, but it is still fun, still incredibly challenging, and then I'm a sucker for the sci-fi setting they went for, and that kind of clear Star Trek, copy at times. The idea though, manage a crew aboard this ship and complete missions and go to war, and that's not as easy as it sounds, as you're basically managing all these internal systems. The crew setup was my favourite portion of the game though. It looks fantastic on the Switch, and if survival is your thing, you probably should come here. So our second winner of the week then, it's going to Perry David, who has had their eye on God's Will 4 for a while now, which was a surprising below $10 drop last week, but was also holding onto their cash for Metroid Dread, and that game is awesome. I may actually just drop a review on that one next week as well, because the release schedule next week for the Switch is definitely looking pretty light. Congrats though Perry, drop me an email to claim your code, and a massive thank you to you all for supporting the channel and dropping those comments. It means a whole lot to me. So our final game of the week then, Moonlighter Complete Edition, and yes, first off, the base game is also on sale, but that's matching the low price, and this bundle is maybe $1 or so more, and a new low price then with a monster 76% off. I am always down for that, now especially when we are talking about a game that is a modern classic in my eyes. It's an action RPG though, with a dash of roguelite. The idea though, you are a shopkeeper that dreams of being a hero. Gates were discovered though in this like unknown location. They transfer you to strange dungeons and you head there to open a shop. At the same time though, you jump in, you want to get treasure to sell, but also you kind of want to be a hero. What is going to be more important is the question. Then this edition packs in the Between Dimensions expansion as well, which is sizable with new enemies, weapons and bosses. It's a fantastic game and a steal at this price. And that's another week down. Again, congrats to our winners and another thank you to All In Games for supporting the channel with those codes. With that though, a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.